Now I would like to welcome then our next session and our next people that are regional representatives from the 7 regions that have been involved in the project. So good morning, everybody. Can everybody see me? Morning. Okay. So our next speaker, he's from Slovenia. He's Mr. Teo Horsanic. Good morning. Can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you.
Okay, perfect. Thank you. He's head of environment and Norfolk County. He's MSc director of the Institute of Republic of Slovenia for Nature Protection. So my question, Mr. Orsanic, is: Slovenia have a rich and diverse nature. How do you think the future collaborations among European regions could support nature conservation in your region?
Yes, first, I thank you for the invitation, and then I have to thank to the technical staff because I had a small difficulty with the connection. So I hope it is solved, so you can hear me, I think. Can you hear me?
Yes.
Okay. So back to the question. I have to say that this year we are celebrating here in Slovenia 100 years from first Nature Conservancy Memorandum. It was done by NGOs at that time. So that was also the first national plan of nature conservancy here in Slovenia. So 100 years ago. And we are preparing at the moment Nature Conservancy Manifest. So this will be some kind of guidelines for the politicians, for the general public, how to solve nature conservancy problems in the future. So one of the first statements in that upcoming Nature Conservancy Manifest is that European Union, for us, for Slovenia as a member state of the European Union, so we should, so there should be more support from the European Union to Slovenia to maintain this very good situation, to help us really making really good decisions and to maintain that situation. So that should be the way forward in the future. So we expect more support from the European Union. So and then studying good practices from other countries is of a great importance. So a very good example was during the BIDREX project here in Ljubljana Marsh Landscape Park or Nature Park. So there was one methodology developed in the UK, and it was implemented here in that local nature park. And I heard that results are optimistic, and that's also very important. Then there is also very important to point out that the inspiration, it's not an empty word. So the inspiration we get from exchange of experiences from different countries, from different problems, from different approaches to the more or less similar problems. Inspiration from discussions on obstacles regarding biotic diversity data. So that inspiration should be encouraged with different projects, let's say projects like BIDREX. So I was very lucky. So I was invited to join the excursion to Norfolk, where I got quite a lot of very important information for my daily job. So I'm very thankful for that opportunity too. And then I would like to point out that what nature conservancy is at its basic. So it's quality data on one side and good communication on the other side. So if you want to make a good decision how to solve nature conservancy problems, you should have a good data. So all the projects, all the exchange experiences, all the good practices, all the pilot actions, all those projects, all Interrex, Lives, and all other projects are very, very welcome, because we really would like to make very good decisions towards our future. And I'm very thankful for all the participants of the Bidrex project for all the good results. Thank you.
Thank you very much for your answer. Maybe we move to the next one, Mr. John Jones. Good morning. He's from the United Kingdom. Good morning. Can you hear me?
I can hear you. Good morning.
Good morning, sir. Good morning. He's the head of environment in Norfolk County Council. So my question would be, Norfolk County Council has recently adopted a new environmental policy and is developing a new 25-year plan for the environment as a response to national policy changes. Could you outline how you have approached this and how it has been supported by access to biodiversity information?
Yes, thank you very much. Thank you for the question. It's really good to connect with the Bidrex partnership again, unfortunately at a distance, but it's good nonetheless. So yes, as you say, we were tasked in Norfolk with producing a new environment plan last June, which was agreed in November. And while we were doing that work, we were starting to develop a 25-year environment plan, not just for Norfolk, but for Norfolk and Suffolk. Now, for context, you need to understand that the environment policy, the first document, was for my own organization to measure its own performance and to be able to lead by example in terms of addressing climate change and reversing biodiversity loss. The 25-year environment plan has a longer time scale, so that takes us to 2045, and it's much more focused on the place itself. Now, whilst there are differences between both of these policy exercises, one of the things that underpins both of them and draws heavily, I think, from the work that we've done in Bidrex and lessons that we've learned through Bidrex, is that you have to lay down some really good foundations in terms of information so that you have an evidence base to establish your starting point. And through establishing that understanding of where you begin, you can also start to formulate ideas about agreeing targets. And I think the word agreeing is, or has definitely been critical for us. It has been looking beyond the data, I suppose, to how the data can inform decision making, and also, I suppose, allow us to collectively agree priorities. So the process, as much as the evidence, has relied on us involving many people, I suppose, in supplying the right sort of information and presented in the right sort of way to shape the policy. So stakeholders, we took a really broad view of what that meant. So we established a task and finish group which had politicians receiving information to help them understand eventually what decisions they were taking. Those politicians were drawn from all parties, so it was a non-political model. It was a free space for people to look at the evidence and to share their thoughts and allow people like me to shape the policy around those opinions. Invited in representatives from Extinction Rebellion, and we invited the University of East Anglia, organizations like national parks, European marine sites. So it was really important to get that kind of diverse range of perspectives, and for, if you like, everybody to hear those together, so that you could not just look at the different parcels of evidence and opinion, you could see how through dialogue, they interrelate and inform one another. So by the time we got to take the whole thing back to our council, to our 84 elected members of a wide range of political views, the environment policy and the work that we've started in the 25-year plan was agreed unanimously, which was maybe very unusual, possibly a first, but everybody agreed, because by the time I was presenting the policy, it was fully supported by all of the politicians who had helped shape its development. And I think BIDREX has been hugely influential in the sort of guiding principles of using the evidence and allowing the evidence, I think, to shape and inform opinion. And we got a good result from that approach.
Answer. Our next speaker is from Italy, is Mr. Nando Goffi. Good morning. Can you hear and can you listen to me?
Good morning.
Good morning. He's head of Marche Region Protection Management and Land Planning Service. My question would be, in Marche region, you have plenty involved municipalities in the project with an excellent response from their side. Could you explain us how these benefits of the municipality gained thanks to the participation in BIDREX?
I will talk on behalf of Nardo Goffi. And the first benefit that BIDREX project has produced on the regional territory is to have improved the exchange of information and local experiences among the stakeholders that during the course of the project have been confronted with the REM policy instruments, local administration, technical official, designers. Moreover, it has pushed to a greater interdisciplinary towards different sectors of the regional administration. Just consider that in phase 1 of the project, more than 27 local stakeholders meetings have been organized, which counted more than 290 persons. The suggestion provided by local government technicians helped to understand the difficulties also of a technical and operational, as well as financial point of view, that hindered the REM implementation process at local scale. The guidelines approved in 2018 for the implementation of the REM have been elaborated mainly taking into account the experiences made during the participation and comparison phase promoted by BIDREX project. This increased collaboration has contributed to an optimized organization of the flow of ecological and environmental information and data provided by the REM in order to facilitate their consultation and use by the administration that will thus find their task easier. Another benefit for the provinces and municipalities undertaking the implementation of the REM and its strategic objectives already defined at regional scale is to highlight on a territorial level the connection elements between the Natura 2000 areas and the external territories interested by agro-silvo-pastoral areas up to the peri-urban or urban areas, and to highlight those natural and biodiversity emergencies, putting them into a system and enhancing them and the flyness of sustainable development. Moreover, the definition of the REM at local scale allows to identify also at project level those areas needing environmental restoration and requalification, decraftation, requalification, restoration, consulting a planning and prioritization of hydrogeological risk reduction intervention. This virtuous path will involve the whole territory, does not introduce new landscape constraints with respect to the existing ones already contained within the municipal or provincial regulatory plans. But on the other hand, it increases the awareness and decision makers' awareness of the environment territorial values present, so as to better support the decision makers' choices. In order to support this process, Marche Region has issued special calls for funding, total or partial, to improve the level of knowledge of local ecological network in different areas. The add value for local administration is that the strengthening process of valorization of the territory capable of activity and financing focused on the sustainable socio-economic development of the territories, which are often either overexploited, e.g. coastal areas, or in other contrary, abandoned due to the depopulation. Although through the new community programming of the FAIRS funds, we will try to enhance the definition and the development of the REM because of its win-win environment population character, which contributes to create add value for the local communities, as well as to preserve the territory of the natural capital for future generation, according to the objectives of the biodiversity strategy and the goals of the UN Agenda 2030. That's all.
Thank you very much for your answer. Our next speaker, he is from Hungary. He's Mr. Zoltán Koracsonyi. Good morning. Can you hear? Can you listen to me? Hello? He's in mute, I think. You should now.
Hello?
Can you? Hello. Good morning.
Okay, excellent.
So
All the best for the old friend and the new colleagues. Thank you. I hear you.
Okay, he's the director of the Center for Environmental Management and Policy, University of Debrecen. So my question is, you have been working with a green infrastructure in North Great Plain region. What are their benefits and how the project can facilitate its implementation?
Thank you for the question. Yes, we are working in the North Great Plain region, is eastern and northern part of the Hungary. And the green infrastructure as a strategically planned network of natural and semi-natural area. So in this case, we can distinguish in the implementation two main areas. One is the open area, let's say mainly outside, and the build area or cities and villages. The task and the implementation are could be different. In open area first is important to manage the Natura 2000 area and connect it with the agricultural and development, especially greening and eco scheme program in the future. But in the cities and villages, there are two main categories for the small settlement villages, mainly in the field of the infrastructure development. We support the nature-based solution. In bigger cities, but still below 50,000 inhabitants, around 20,000, 30,000. It's important integration into city planning development, focusing on the multifunctionality of the green infrastructure. So how we support this possible advantage in the implementation through the BIDREX project? First of all, we want to develop a tool and methodology for the cities to be able to integrate the biodiversity infrastructure and biodiversity information into decision-making process. For this, they have to have all the biodiversity information. Unfortunately, these are not available most of the cases. So we decided to develop a biodiversity information tool for the cities, because you cannot manage what you don't measure. So without information, it's not possible. So first, we developed a platform for the cities on a voluntary basis who want to participate in this process. to develop own biodiversity information data, because these cities don't have enough capacity to develop this. We proposed to collect all the relevant information they have, and plus external information, but freely accessible and not costly information. This information together offer them a good possibility to develop own city natural capital. Natural capital, it means not a list of the information, but the possibility how to develop, how to manage it for better city development. For this, we collect the information and all aerial photogram and remote sensing possibility, and to integrate into this biodiversity information structure. We, of course, helped to collect the information at the existing green area, because the municipality mostly have only enough information about the parks and not the other, maybe the trees, tree cataster also available, but don't have enough information on the potential green area. And the potential green area information is an important tool for them to develop their own city green infrastructure plan. This tool help these municipalities, the cities, to develop new strategy and new plan for the city. This is all. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much for your answer. Now we will try again to connect with Mrs. Annick Ternot. Is it possible? No, I'm sorry. We can listen to you, but very.
Can you hear me? Can you hear me?
Yes.
I'm going. So I'm going to give the answer on behalf of Annick, because we have technical problem. We are very sorry about that.
Okay. So
I can hear you.
Okay, I present her. She is the Director for Nature and Water General Directorate of Agriculture, Natural Resources and Environment in Walloon Public Service. So my question for her is, could you give a concrete example of policy or management decisions impacting the natural environment and biodiversity that have been or can be improved through a project such as BitREx? And how can these improvements can achieve in the medium and the long term?
Okay, thank you. A concrete and very topical example can be given in the context of the implementation of the regional policy statement, which is the tool we decide to improve in the framework of the project. And this tool is established for Wallonia for the period 2019 to 2024. And this declaration provides, among other things, for an increase of 1,000 hectares of protected areas per year. So we must be able to count on the availability of reliable biological data to enable us to protect the best areas and the main challenges of our regional biodiversity. Indeed, the quality of our ecological network, set up also by the same statement, will depend on rigorous scientific criteria, and themselves must be based on solid data in order to maximize the role of natural reserves in conservation policy. So in this sense, the BitREx project has contributed to improving the processes of data collection and data dissemination. And numerous other examples could be identified. In the future, it is vital for our nature conservation policy to continue to promote this type of initiatives to improve the confidence of decision makers and citizens in the process of improving knowledge, management, and monitoring of our natural heritage, and to continue our approach of actively safeguarding our natural resources based on scientific facts. This is for the long term. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Mr. De Rochette, and thank you very much also, Mrs. Ternot. And now we move to our last partner. The host partner actually is Mrs. Marta Subirà. She's from Catalonia. Good morning.
Good morning.
She's the Secretary of Environment and Sustainability, Ministry of Territory and Sustainability, the Government of Catalonia. My question is, during the welcome, you mentioned the creation of a new observatory of natural heritage in Catalonia. Could you briefly explain the impact of having this observatory in terms of improving decision-making process in your region?
Yes, indeed. The creation of the Observatory of Natural Heritage will provide basic information for nature conservancy in Catalonia, which has until now been dispersed and not very well organized. The challenge that lies ahead is enormous because in recent years we have lost around 25% in population numbers, not only of endangered species, but also of our whole wildlife. The current pandemic offers a reminder that biodiversity loss, both here and on the planet as a whole, makes both our ecosystems and therefore also people more fragile. Although we need to act now, we must do so bearing in mind that what the priorities are and how can we be more effective. We need information and we need knowledge. The observatory should therefore help us to establish better public nature conservation policies and to be able to show the different social and economic stakeholders involved that decisions are made transparently and on the basis of the best available information. We all can agree policies should be based on science, or at least on the best scientific knowledge available on the matter. Thus, when faced with controversies that are often founded on ideological positioning, such as opinions on forestry management, on agriculture intensification, river management, wind power, etc., we can contrast data and applied scientific knowledge in order to reach solutions and to advance as a truly sustainable, nature-friendly and healthier society. Good information and knowledge about the problems of our natural heritage and about matters in most urgent need of resolution will also be very useful in properly prioritizing actions to be financed with European funds. Previously, Catalonia did not make sufficient use of European funds in nature conservation projects. The project BidRex will improve our understanding of the administrative mechanisms of ERDF funds in Catalonia, and we are working, despite of COVID-19, to make more room for nature conservation projects in the forthcoming 2021-2027 operational program. The observatory has still not been fully established and needs to continue growing in the coming months and integrating more stakeholders with distinguished profiles in matters of our natural environment. This shall we do. But an initial core of this observatory has already nonetheless managed to draft the first report on the status of nature in Catalonia, which we shall present in October. This report analyzes the status of the Catalan natural heritage, makes use of scientifically proven data to manifest the worrying status of our heritage, and points to the main problems we need to tackle in the coming years to halt biodiversity loss in our country. I hope this answers your question.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Indeed. So now we move to make some questions to the speakers from the audience that they have been doing through the chat. So the first question I can see here is addressed to Mr. Pau Sainz and is the next one. What about the owners and landers and the primary sector? Are they going to be represented in the Catalan Nature Observatory?
Well, it's a good question now. Well, I have to say that we are working to implement this observatory, as said Ms. Subirà. But at the moment, this observatory is focused on the data providers in biodiversity data. But obviously, we would like to reinforce the links with the owners, the landers, and all the primary sector. And well, so was it another time in an experience that we see during the project in Bologna, that is called, there is a organization that it's called Nat Agri Wal, Nat from nature, Nat Agri from agriculture, and Wal from Bologna, Nat Agri Wal. I recommend the people who ask the question to enter in this web page, Nat Agri Wal. And then this is a good example how to inform. They inform the owners, the landers, the people from the primary sector how to better implement actions, how to better do his work in the forest, in the fields, but trying to favorize the natural values they have there. And it's very interesting organization, and we would like to import here in Catalonia, but it's not really related to the observatory. The observatory must allow us to to answer the questions that it's happening in the forest, that it's happening in the fields, but not act to resolve them.
Okay, thank you very much, Mr. Maza. The next question is, it goes to Mr. Teo Horsanic from Slovenia. I don't know if he's, can you hear me? Can you hear me, Mr.
Yes,
Horsanic?
Okay, I'm here.
Okay,
yes,
great.
Yes.
Great. The question is, you have said that EU should support Slovenia to maintain its biodiversity. Which kind of support do you would like to have from UE?
Well, this is quite a complex question and quite a complex answer, because the connections with from one state with the European Commission or with the DG Envy, DG Agri, and all other general directorates are quite complex and in many ways. So the first one that comes to my mind are different projects under the Green Deal agreement. So we should, let's say, we should direct more funds towards managing biodiversity. So, but we should must be aware that managing biotic diversity, so we are speaking about managing, it's not an easy task. So it's a hard work. So a lot of communication, a lot of agreements with stakeholders, a lot of agreements with NGOs, a lot of agreements with different ministries. So it's quite a huge question about communication. So that's the only way I can see. So there can also be some changes in subsidies intended to agriculture. So agriculture is our a huge stakeholder. So dealing with agriculture, you have to be very careful because we are speaking about food production and some other circumstances. So we should be very, very careful. But without changes in the first pillar of agricultural fundings, there will be no significant changes in protecting biotic diversity. So there should be much more communication between the states and between the European Commission and European Parliament regarding protecting biotic diversity. So there is this is an area that comes slowly into political language because it's not an easy task. So it's a very hard question, and I can't really easily answer to your question because there are so many different possibilities how we can help, or how can they help to Slovenia maintaining biotic diversity. So I can't really give you any better answer. It's a difficult question.
Thank you very much. We are a little bit late, but maybe we have time for a last question. Maybe it goes to maybe to one of you, one of the presents in the room. So this is no, it's a good. Okay, so just move to a last question that is maybe to one of the panel, or two of the panelists that can give a concrete example. The question is, how do you engage citizens, land owners, and agricultural sector to conserve nature? So which formulas do you use in your regions? Do you have any example, concrete and successful example? So how we can get the implication of people, of land users, and everybody in conservation? Is a magic formula to get that? Maybe he suggests Mr. De Rocher from Bologna.
Magic thing, I don't believe, but maybe the example has been given many times during this event. We have told a lot about what we are proud of, and this is the association Natagriwal. Natagriwal is a very useful and very efficient agency specialized in the contact and the contracting with farmers, and I think it's a very valuable initiative. We are very proud of. Again, Natagriwal is dealing with owners and with farmers at the same time, and with farmers they are very at ease with all the agricultural schemes and climatic schemes now. And they propose to the farmers to contract for a few years. And the dynamic given with this agency by contracting and by contacting all the farmers provide very encouraging results. The other part they are working on is for nature restoration. The same agency is devoted to nature restoration, and they can make contract as well with owners to restore some habitats, some places, and they are using RDP funds to propose contract, to propose to pay with the RDP funds the restoration works. So this example is very, I think, topical and very a very good one about the contact we can have with farmers and owners. And of course, this is maybe a good practice which has been identified, but we could we discuss a lot with the other partners about Natagriwal, but we are available to discuss further and to meet people from this agency with great pleasure. Thank you.
Okay, thank you very much, Mr. De Rochette. Hopefully this good example, it will be found in other places anytime, okay? So I would like to thank all the partners and all the regional representatives for their collaboration, for their participation in these sessions.